Hello, you wild animals and sexy aliens on the internet, and welcome to the weekly. We have a big week ahead, okay? Astrologically speaking. Not really, like we have two transits mainly that I'm going to talk about, but it is the power of those two transits that makes it a big week and an important week. And I think a very fascinating week because we will be having tons and tons and tons of revelations, darling. I am all the way in my Leo ascendant right now, if you cannot tell. So anyways, happy Leo season, by the way. God, it feels so good. It feels good to be back on and popping. Alrighty, so anyways, if you're new to one of these videos, basically what we do is we break down the transits that I think are the big deal for the week ahead, and we talk about them. Alrighty, and I bring the cosmos down to earth in front of your very eyes, and that is what we do here. If you are spiritually intelligent, and you use astrology as like a, form of your day-to-day practice, or your philosophies on life, or your self-healing journey, or your spiritual journey, or like whatever, then this is the place for you. Alrighty, because that's what I do. Alright, so anyways, with that being said, this week is also a big week because the August horoscopes are being filmed this week and should be up by this week, so be on the lookout for those. And with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this week and talk about what is coming and why it's a big deal and how we're probably going to notice it and the spiritual lessons and codes behind it. Alrighty, so my chart should be up on the screen now, and we're just gonna go ahead and first talk about, I think, the first major transit of this week, and that is the Mercury Cazimi. Now, I'm sure you guys know that Mercury has been retrograde for like the last couple weeks now. And so we are halfway through the Mercury retrograde cycle. Therefore, what always happens is that Mercury meets up with the sun, alrighty, the big daddy sun in the sky. And then what happens from there is that something comes to light, something shifts in our consciousness and our awareness inside of ourselves, sometimes even outside of ourselves. There's a momentary clicking that happens here, usually with a Mercury Cazimi, where there's a sudden realization, there is a sudden light bulb moment, there's a sudden shift in how we're perceiving something, or there's new information that comes to light. Alrighty, now this is a big deal because this is a particularly powerful Mercury Cazimi. Why? Well, because it's happening with the sun, which makes it a Cazimi, number one, but number two is it's happening in the sun's sign. Oh, okay there. Sassy. It's happening in the sun sign of Leo, alrighty? And so this is pretty much where the sun likes to be. Like, the sun is at home and on his kingly throne, like, I am back, hello, look at me, like he is feeling himself here, alrighty? And so Mercury retrograde here is having us really reflect on, I've been talking a lot about this in my last several videos, but it's having us really reflect on not only our perception in general, but our perception of ourselves, our identities, who we are, validation, being seen, insecurities, things that we haven't maybe wanted to look at about ourselves, or where we've been limiting ourselves, okay? Like, I don't know about you, but this is how I feel for this Mercury Cazimi, and it's an experience I just had recently that I've had many times before, because if you're on a healing journey or spiritual journey, then you know that everything is effing cyclical, so you're going to come back around to shit all the time and basically retake beginner lessons that you've already learned several times throughout your life and retake them over and over again, because that seems to be what we are all doing here in this earthly school as humans. But anyway, something that I have come back around to recently is the illusion of limitation. The illusions of the limitations that I have placed on myself, where I have been holding my own self back because of this story or that story or X or Y or this excuse or that excuse, or because I convinced myself. I boxed myself in with my thinking and convinced myself that this was not possible because of X, or I was not capable of that because of Y. And all of that has just been becoming more and more clear recently, where I'm like, holy shit, there's just been like literally made up stories that I've been telling myself and living under. And it's all about perception, right? Like, in the manifestation world, like, self-concept, how you see yourself is everything. Embodiment is everything, okay? And so, and I have no notes written down for this video, so we're basically just freestyling over here, which I haven't done in a while. Like usually I have like a lot of things come to me before videos and I write a lot of notes, but so this one might be a little all over the place. I'm just warning you ahead of time. But self-concept, like embodiment is everything. Like you basically, your life, you will live your life under the perception or the self-concept of what you think you're capable of or what you think is possible, okay? And so yeah, I mean, like if you, let's say you desire to do something, like you desire to be a singer or a doctor or like whatever, but you have this belief deep down that like you can't do that or it's not possible for you, you're never going to try. You're never going to do it, you know, like you're not going to go after it. So it's like, what perception are we living under? What perception of ourselves do we have that's holding us back in our lives, that's limiting or contracting or placing us inside of a box where we're not seeing our power, we're not seeing our talent, we're not seeing what we're capable of, we're not seeing our spirit, we're not seeing our soul, the sun, SOL, right? Like we are not seeing our life force energy, right? Those circumstances, those excuses, those stories don't have life force energy. You do, right? They don't have power. You do. And like you're the soul here, like you are the creator. I talked so much about this in my last video, my Leo new moon video. Like we are the creators, right? Someone left a comment one time on one of my videos and it really it really got me. I was like, I see what you did there. I think it was a she, it might have been a he, but I'm pretty sure it was a she, and she said something along the lines of we are not creators because nothing can be created nor destroyed. It's all it's all alchemized, right? Like it's all transmuted into something else. And I was like, ooh. Yes, that too. So and I do believe that. So when I say creators, I mean, like, there is something that you get into when you get out of the box of victim thinking, when you get out of this box of like, I'm a victim of life and I'm like basically in the passenger seat or sometimes even in the back seat, like laying down and just letting everything else take me for a ride because I don't trust myself to lead my life, or I don't trust myself to create the life that I really desire, that I want. And something happens, like when we get out of that, we get back into the driver's seat and we're like, I'm driving this bitch. This bitch is my life and I am driving her. I am going to lead my life and create what I want to create. And there is this, because I've felt it, I've been in it, where it's like this creator consciousness. It's like this creator energy. Like you feel like you are aligned with source and you realize and remember your power and you're able to, like, everything, you just see everything as creation all of a sudden. I did like a masterclass on this that was really powerful a couple years ago called the Creator Masterclass. That's still on my website. But it literally is like this energy that you get into. So yes, like technically, scientifically, like everything is alchemized and nothing can be created nor destroyed. But the creator is just such a fun energy and archetype to play with anyway, because it's like you're the painter, you're the storyteller, like you're the artist of your life. And we forget that so much of the time. And this Mercury retrograde's coming back in. It's teaching us a lot of things, this Mercury retrograde in Leo. But one of the things is like remembering that you are the creator. Darling, you are the creator. You came here to create. You came here to literally create your life the way that you desired. And what lie are you buying into that tells you that you can't do that? Because it's all it is a thought that you believe, or somebody else's way of thinking that you believe in, that you're putting energy into, because we're so powerful that we can literally create things that we think we don't desire as well. We're so powerful that we can create this scenario that we live in thinking that we're not enough, or thinking that we can't do what we want to do, or that we don't have what it takes, or that we can't do XYZ. You can do anything that you desire. The only thing that makes you not do it is you. The only thing that can make you stop is you giving up and believing in some narrative that you tell yourself, like, oh, because of this happening or because of that happening, I just... oh, well, it must have meant something. It must have meant that this was not for me, or I'm not capable of this. And like, we all do this, right? Like we have challenges, we have situations, we take them, and then we're like, oh, this must mean that I'm not good enough. This must mean that I don't belong. This must mean that like I can't do this, or I'm unworthy, or like whatever the case may be. And it's like, no, like, again, you're creating that. You're the one buying into this story that you're telling yourself of what it all means. Like, it's almost like the way I've been thinking about this a lot lately, it's almost like mainstream media, right? A situation happens, like a fact happens. A dude crosses the street, right? And then a news station or a media station will pick it up and be like, oh my God, this dude crossed the street, right? Because he was trying to get to the other side, because he was angry, and because he was trying to go over there to potentially harm somebody. And then another news station will be like, no, this dude crossed the street because he was in a hurry to get to work, right? And because he must have been, in a rush, and he was probably just not really thinking, and he just crossed the street and he was just in a hurry. And then another news station is like, no, he was crossing the street and he was probably just having a good day and just wasn't paying attention. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's the same thing with our lives. Like, we do the same thing, right? But the news station is our perception. It's like us writing things down, right? Like you can see a still shot or have an experience of somebody running, and you can think of a million reasons why they could be running. Oh, they're going for a jog. Oh, they're in a hurry. Oh, they're, like there's just so many different things. And so we do the same thing. We are the narrator of our lives. Something happens, like there's this meme that I absolutely love, and it says, I wish my life had background music so I could understand what the fuck was going on. And I love that. I love that meme. Like, could you just like imagine like you're in like a drive-thru at a McDonald's and all of a sudden horror music starts playing and you're looking around like, what, where's the bad guy? Like, but we do this, right? Like, we do this to our life. I got fired, therefore it must mean I'm the bad guy. I'm not good enough. I suck at life. I can't do my job right? I tried to go after my dreams, and then this challenge got in the way, and it must mean that I'm not supposed to, right? Like, how are we doing this in our life? This is very mercurial, because it's literally the filter that we look through our life through. It's literally the filter that we look at ourselves through. This is Leo, this is the sun, this is identity, this is self, this is personality, this is like your life force energy and how you're expressing it. And so where have you been creating these imaginary concepts and boxes and narrations and I'm pretty sure that's a word, or narratives, narratives, I think I meant narratives, and Mercury retrograde in my first house, thank you, narratives and stories and like all of this stuff, like it really kind of ties in like Sagittarius energy too, because Sag is like a storyteller. So it's like you can create anything, like you can take anything, dang it, my screen died. You can take anything and make it into whatever you want to, okay? You can take anything that happens throughout your life, but like when we forget, like when we get out of our power, we get out of our like creator energy, which happens, like we're here to experience being human. So it's like not like you're less than or you suck if you're not in like, creator consciousness all the time, like that's not what I'm saying. But when we do get out of that energy and we forget that we are the ones creating our lives, and we are no longer in like our observational energy where we're like observing things and then watching how we react to it, we then like buy into it, right? And we're like, and we're like, oh my gosh, like we forgot we're playing the video game, and now we're in the video game. Like we're no longer watching the movie unfold. We're now the character in the movie that it's happening to, right? And we take it really personally, and we make it mean all of these other things, and it gets all tangled up with our childhood wounds and our trauma and our exes and our parents and our, the kids that bullied us from school and like all of this stuff. And then we're like, oh, see, I knew it. I wasn't good enough. I'm not capable. I suck. And that's, that's what we do because we're human. But this is not like, so we are so powerful that we can create those stories as well that end up working against us and limiting us. And we can limit our power and shrink ourselves to be small and timid and scared and basically stagnant. Like that's how powerful we are until we come back to ourselves and we're like, okay, well, what did I learn from that? And so anyway, I was literally, as I was like half in, half out of sleep this morning, and I have this happen. Like I'm a very active person in the dream world. I have a lot of crazy experiences and dreams and like out of body experiences and sleep paralysis as well sometimes. And then I also have like, I don't know if it's my subconscious or my guides. Sometimes like I've had it to where it's been like my higher self. I've had it to where it's been guides. I've had it to where it's been my literal self talking to myself. But anyways, I was talking to myself, or at least either my subconscious was talking to me or like a guide was talking to me. I couldn't really make out which one it was, but I woke up hearing this like repeating message of stop holding in your authentic self. It's time to express your authentic self. Stop holding it in. Like, it's time to express your authentic self. And it sounds so simple, but it felt so powerful. Like, I woke up and I was like, yeah, like I really felt it. And so anyway, but that is what this is about. This Mercury retrograde in Leo is like showing us all like the silenced, the parts of us that we've silenced, that we've repressed, that we've boxed in, that we've like, put on the back burner because of what other people may think, or because of, because we didn't feel confident in ourselves. We didn't feel like the creator of our lives. We felt like the victim of our own story, and we were laying down on the back seat on the floorboards, like in the fetal position, like just feeling like we were overwhelmed and couldn't take much more, maybe at one time or another. And so, but now this is like coming back to remembering your fire, your spark, where you're not allowing yourself to be seen, where you're not allowing yourself to take up space, where you're not allowing yourself to just say that thing that you want to say, no matter how bold or goofy or silly or whatever it is. Like, even lately I've been noticing these like different, like this like way more like funny, childlike, silly part of my personality that's been wanting to come out. There's been so many situations where like I'll say something to myself internally in like a silly voice, but then I will like, I notice that I like almost stop myself from saying it. And I'm like, why am I doing that? And I realized because like, these are parts of me that are ready to like come out and be seen again, and that are ready to be expressed. And so this is so much what this Mercury Cazimi in Leo is about. And this week it happens on July 31st, which I believe is Thursday. That's when it'll be exact. So you could be feeling this the days leading up to Thursday, and even Thursday and Friday and all of that. But this is definitely a time where we have, and also because here's the thing too, Mercury rules Virgo, and Mars is just coming off of its conjunction with the South Node and Virgo. And so there's a lot here to where maybe we've criticized ourselves. We've criticized certain parts of ourselves, and we've like boxed them in to try to, appear a certain way. Like, we've been way too nitpicky or critical of ourselves or perfectionistic or like whatever. And like, now's about just shining, being loud, being bold, being authentic, and allowing yourself to be confident. Like, I remember, and this is probably like a lesson for me too that I'm still in the middle of, that I'll share with you really quick, because this is still kind of brewing for me. I'm not at the end of it yet. Usually I share things more so when I'm, once I've got like that last, piece of the lesson, but I haven't got there with this yet. But anyway, I was in my car the other day, and I was feeling drawn to listen to like my confident playlist. It's called my badass playlist. And I haven't listened to it in a while because that playlist reminds me of like one of my really high peak periods in 2023. And where I was like super, super confident, and I just felt so, so confident, like the most confident I'd ever felt in myself. I was just like, I was in like this conviction energy. I was like, I'm going to take over the fucking world, and I don't care. Like, I was busting through all my limitations. I was like making shit happen. I was so, so confident and just being very bold and very brave, but it felt good. I felt like I was being true to myself. Anyway, I had like a down period after that, and that went into all of 2024, because it was like at the end of 2023 when I went through this peak period where I was really confident, and then into 2024 I kind of had more of a down period. And I've reflected on it a lot. Like, I had a couple people over that time period telling me that I was coming off like I was too in my ego or whatever. And I really thought about that a lot, because I really do think about what people say to me, the feedback that I get. Like, I'm a Libra sun, so I really do consider anything that happens in my outside world, any pattern that I see, anything I say to a client, I also consider for myself, or I have already considered it for myself. Like, that's just how I am. It's like I view everything as a mirror, so I always look back at me. And so I really reflected on that for a while. It was like, maybe like, did my ego get too into it? And then is that why I went through the down period? Like I really wanted, I kind of started having this story form basically around this narrative form basically around it, even though I really, truly in that time, when I was in that time, I did not feel like my ego was and doing me any harm, or that I never felt like I was better than anybody. Like it wasn't anything like that. Like I just really fucking loved myself, and I was really fucking confident, and I wasn't scared to show it. And I think I was making people uncomfortable. And but I really like did a lot of like soul searching to figure out like, well, maybe I did get too confident. Maybe I did get too cocky. Maybe I did, like, I don't know. And anyway, so I was listening to that playlist the other day, and I was like jamming, and I felt that fire within me. Like I felt that confident part of me like really starting to come up. And it scared me a little bit because I was like, oh, I don't know, man. Like I don't know. Like, cause I still have that story, that's like, well, did you get too confident? Did you, did your ego, because like, even in that energy, I felt like I was friends with my ego, like not that in a good way. Like I felt like a healthy ego. It felt like I liked the parts about me that like individualized parts that my ego, the parts of my personality that like my ego was expressing through during that time. And it's like I loved all of those parts of me, and even the insecure parts of me. Like I felt full, and I feel like I'm coming back to some of that a bit. And I've just been like, I don't know, but I had that story within my head that's like, ooh, I don't know, like, and so anyways, but then I got that message this morning, like, don't be scared to express yourself authentically. Like, don't be scared to be who you are. Like, I feel like we have these parts of our personality for a reason. Like our soul picked these bodies, these traits, these personalities, these life experiences, these life challenges, these life traumas, because they all shape this beautiful artistic being that is us, that we embody. That was good. That just came out really beautifully. I got to give myself confidence for that one. But we literally are like a work of art. And I really feel like when we embrace these different sides of ourselves, rather than be in conflict with them, like I always say, the key to self-love is not being in conflict with any part of who you are. And I know as a Libra sun and a Leo rising, that the more that I am in conflict with different parts of me, the more that I suffer, the more that I feel lost, the more that I feel like I don't know who I am, the more that I feel like I like not myself, the more that I feel lost and don't know what I'm doing here. And it's all those conflicts within me, like fighting against an insecurity, or trying not to feel not good enough, or feeling not good enough, but then telling myself I am good enough, like it's all of that like really leads to kind of like a depressed place within me, or like a repressed sense of who I am, like a repressed like Tawny pretty much. And so that's what I have learned over time. And so anyway, I think that this Mercury retrograde in Leo is teaching us how to get back to the truth of who we are in our hearts, not someone that we've been acting like we are, not performing like we are confident when we really don't feel that way, because it's not till you can really love that part of yourself that feels insecure, that feels not good enough, that feels shame, that you can really fully embody who you are, that you can really fully feel whole within your being and within your heart. Like when you can like wake up in the morning and just feel like, gosh, like I just love who I am. And it's even more than that too. Like it's a lot of it's internal. Most of it's internal. Like 95% of it, maybe 90% of it's internal. Like I always say, like internal first, external second, inside out. Okay. But the other part of that too are the things that we're doing and the things that we're putting up with in our lives. Like the next part of that after the internal shift is like, where am I settling? Where am I continuing to participate in actions that directly go against my confidence? Where have I lowered my standards in situations where I haven't been speaking up, or I haven't been speaking my truth? Very mercurial also. I haven't been making a decision or that I know I need to make, haven't been having a conversation that I know I need to have. Like these are also really huge parts of like kind of the more masculine side, the more masculine energy side of self-love and confidence. Like the internal is really more so feminine, and the external is more so the masculine side, how I always, explain it in the work that I do. But anyway, So that is the Mercury Cazimi. I'm super excited to see how that pans out. The other thing I wanted to say here about this, I wanted to say this in my Leo new moon video, but I forgot. When I was talking in my Leo new moon video about a recent breakthrough that I had in the front seat of my car, where I had been feeling not good enough in like a situation because of like kind of experience with another person, and it like really forced me to like go inside and face a lot of shame within myself and old stories and all of that. Basically, I wanted to say that I missed out on two key, like massive revelations that also go into this Mercury Cazimi that I had with that experience. And it goes into what I was saying earlier about viewing everything outside of us as kind of like a mirror. So basically, the first one was I remembered the quote that God or the divine or the universe is everything and everyone in a mask. Like everyone that you're dealing with is really God in a mask, because the divine is within everything. Leo, energy, Aquarian energy, this is the Leo Aquarian axis kind of both playing out in that quote. And also that Leo new moon opposite Pluto that we're coming off of, right? Pluto and Aquarius, everyone. What's hidden about everyone? Alrighty, like they're the divine, the sun ruled Leo. Everyone is the divine in a mask, right? Like I feel like that's just so perfect for that Leo new moon opposite Pluto that we're coming off of. So that was like my first kind of, well, not my first, I think it was more like my second piece of that puzzle that was leading to that breakthrough. And then the third one, as I was sitting in my car, what really led to that breakthrough was, oh, wait a second. If this person is the divine in a mask, and I'm also the divine in a mask, then that person is me in a mask. The person I was struggling with or having issues with, that person is me in a mask. And if that's me in a mask, what am I trying to teach myself? What is she trying to teach me? Therefore, what am I trying to teach myself with this? Because if I'm the creator, if I'm creating this situation, if I somehow was drawn into this situation and now I'm creating this situation, what is this trying to teach me? And that's when everything just started coming up, and it all started like clicking and making sense. And so there are many more moments like that that can be had this week with this Mercury Cazimi. It's so much about coming back to ourselves, coming back to true confidence, true courage, true leadership, self-leadership. Like we can't lead others or lead our lives until we can lead ourselves, and we can trust in ourselves again and let go of all of the stories that we have and the narratives that we have, that the perceptions that we have that keep us limited and boxed in and not feeling good about ourselves. The next part of that is this week we have Venus moving into the sign of Cancer and out of Gemini. So this is going to be really interesting, because as soon as she enters Cancer, she's going to start making a square with Big Daddy Saturn and woo-woo Neptune over here in Aries. And so this is going to be a very interesting little dynamic that starts happening here. Luckily, Venus is in Cancer and Jupiter's also in Cancer, and Jupiter's exalted here. So I think that whatever this is teaching us is going to have some kind of evolutionary or, more positive, outcome in some way, even if it may seem a little challenging or edgy at first. So Saturn and Neptune they're really like the best. There's so many different ways this plays out, and I've done videos on this, but to keep it simple for now, the biggest way that I think this is really playing out is it is kind of, Saturn is dismantling a lot of our illusions about so many different things. Anything that is keeping us looking outside of ourselves for the answer, anything that is keeping us from, because Aries is a fire sign like Leo, and it's also very self-oriented. It's also very much about independence and individual sovereignty, and again, self-leadership, leading one's life and moving and taking action. But these are with Saturn and Neptune being outer planets. These are big illusions that we've been under about the world at large, about different systems, different, so many different things, so many different societal things, different structures and pillars and all kinds of things, all kinds of, you know, philosophies, different ways of thinking, concepts, all kinds of things. I mean, this can go into politics, this can go into political parties and idealism around that. This can go to so many different things, economics, the healthcare system, so many other kinds of systems. There's something massive happening here where the delusions and the illusions and lies and things that have been kind of accepted as just the narrative or whatever for so long are really being dismantled. And we can see the start like the beginnings of this in so many different ways, which I'm not going to go into because, as I've said, I feel my gifts are more geared towards helping people rather than talking about, like, you know, political stuff or worldly stuff or like whatever the case may be. So anyways, but in some area of our lives, Saturn and Neptune are really dismantling old ideals and really starting new ones that are more real and more aligned and that feel more aligned with who we are today. You know, on a collective level, this is really showing, I think, like on like a really higher level, this is really about like showing humans where they have put the trust outside of themselves and believed something outside of themselves instead of looking for the answers within themselves and realizing that they are the ones with the answers. They are the ones with the power. Okay, so anyway, but this conjunction is going to start being squared by Venus. Now, this conjunction of Saturn and Neptune is actually in the superior position. So, therefore, whatever Venus, you know, Venus is lollygagging around, moves into Cancer, she's going to grandma's house, you know, and and this is kind of like almost like Little Red Riding Hood, right? Like she goes to grandma's house and realizes that, you know, grandma is not grandma, she's the big bad wolf, right? Like this is so perfect for this. And she's like, oh my God, you know, like, and this whole time her grandma maybe has been the big bad wolf. And it's like, oh crap. Am I not going to love her even though this big bad wolf grandma has basically raised me or been there for me or whatever? She's been who this person is. She's been this wolf the whole time. And now I find out it's all a disguise. Like, is that going to change anything? I don't know, you know? Now, I'm not saying that could be the only outcome to this. It could be that maybe her grandma has only been, or maybe the big bad wolf has only been pretending to be her grandma for, you know, a short period of time, right? Either way, it's kind of a really great metaphor for this square. You know, this Saturn-Neptune conjunction, both are retrograde right now, so we're now kind of revisiting and revising and kind of reflecting. There's a simmering down period happening with this, but they are squaring Venus in Cancer. Venus in Cancer wants to feel comfortable, safe, emotionally supported. You know, she wants to be comfortable and you know, embrace some kind of nostalgia, look at old memories, watch old movies. But it feels like there is something that is kind of putting pressure on that, or there's something kind of challenging that. It's like, oh, well, I can't do that. It's almost like I kind of feel weird now after like all of the Diddy stuff came out. Like I kind of feel weird listening to a lot of old music that I grew up to that like I used to love, that used to be super nostalgic for me, you know? And it's like now it's like for a long time, like since all that stuff started coming out, like it's been such like a massive kind of like, you know, awakening, you know, revelation within itself that I'm kind of like, every time like, you know, I go through like old songs and stuff, I'm like, you know, like I almost don't feel right listening to some people anymore because I'm pretty sure that they're tied in somehow, even if it hasn't been proven yet. Like I don't know, like it almost feels weird now, right? And so it's almost like that. It's like we want to go back to something, or we want to do something that feels really good, but it's like the way that we've been perceiving it, or the what we thought it was, has been completely, you know, it's been kind of broken down in some way. Like that's basically how I see this. Now, on like a more simple level, if you have, you know, this, you know, depending on where you have this, obviously, if you have this more towards the top half of your chart, those examples I gave are going to kind of apply more to you. If you have this now towards the bottom part of your chart more, then you're likely it's going to be a bit more personal, right? And so it's like, you know, maybe you are wanting to like cuddle up with your boyfriend or something, but now he has to work more hours because there's been a massive change going on at his job, or, something like that. Or like maybe you're wanting to, like, have spend some quality time with your family and feel emotionally supported, but your family's been through a lot recently and it just doesn't feel the same as it used to, like, and so it could be things like that as well. But it's going to be interesting to kind of see how this plays out. It's almost like there is a more delusion that is clearing here, like more fog that is clearing here. And even though we want to be comfortable and almost like go back to a past time, or do something that feels safe or familiar, it's like it doesn't feel the same as it once did. And so it's like we have to find a new safe and familiar, and I think that this is what is really coming up right now. So those are the two transits. Venus enters Cancer also on July 31st, and will start squaring Saturn and Neptune on that day. So Thursday and Friday this week are definitely like kind of the hot days, but again, we're going to be feeling it building this week. So keep that in mind. Comment down below, sexy alien, if you are still here. I appreciate you so much. Let me know what you got from this video. It really means a lot to me when you let me know down below, like what clicked for you, what was resonating for you, if this helped you, if these weekly videos are vibing with you or not. I would love to know down below. Keep a lookout for the August monthly horoscopes. You're definitely going to want to watch your horoscope for August. This month is really interesting, and I'm really excited to talk about it. So anyways, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching my badass sexy aliens on the internet, and I will see you guys in my next one, darling.